Welcome to Power Yourself, where I talk about the most important topic in the world, you. In the craziness that can be our life, it can be hard to find those peaceful moments. Meditation, when practiced, can offer individuals peace, calmness, and essentially a tool for happiness. When initially starting out, though, it can actually be quite intimidating and overwhelming. And I promise you, you don't have to be on top of a Tibetan mountain to do it. So today we are going to focus on a particular type of meditation, and that's called Yoga Nidra. Today with me, we have back to the studio, Miss Lindsay Morton, and I'm hopefully going to tap into some more of her insane knowledge regarding meditation. So first of all, Lindsay, welcome back to the studio, and thank you again for giving us some of your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so starting off, like I know we mentioned in the last episode that you were with us, we started to really talk about meditation, and it was hard for me not to really go down there.
Right.
Because for me, I feel it's one of my tools that I use on a daily basis that I feel has essentially given me what I have achieved in life.
Yeah.
So it's a close chord for me, and it's a very passionate topic. So
it's a hot topic right now too, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel it's a gift we can honestly give ourselves because life is so busy and can be so overwhelming. And we have so many emotions that we feel. So I think essentially by giving ourselves the respect enough to have that time and to meditate and clean our heads, it essentially can be probably one of the best things I feel that you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
So let's start today's journey off with defining what is meditation in your opinion, Lindsay?
I think if you wanted to put a definition around meditation, it's a focusing of the senses of the mind, not necessarily a calming, but it's a focus. It's a practiced focus. I think that's a good thing. That's what I'm looking for there.
So practiced focus.
Focus, yeah.
So it's funny because for me, meditation, I think I know what I do, and that's it. So that's why I'm so excited to learn all about this different type. Because for me, I always go to my kind of natural place, and that's being present. So practicing being present in the moment. I also focus a lot on positive affirmations. I really go there. That's a big thing for me as well.
Yeah.
So I think when I hear something like Yoga Nidra, it's appealing to me because I'm like, maybe this is a tool. I already have the buy-in for meditation. Right. So I'm like, wow, if there's another tool that can be offered or I can be using to help, let's get that out there. Let's talk about it.
And like we were talking about with yoga, how there's so many different types. There's also so many different types of meditation. Like where we could go with it is pretty crazy. But I think we work out our bodies. So why wouldn't we apply the same thing to our minds, right? We should probably be doing that first above the body, looking after the old noggin. But
I'll just think we use it in everything we do.
Everything. Yeah. It comes along with everything.
It's the same with the body. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That's awesome. So let's start with then, I know it's hard to define what meditation is. So maybe if you can tell me what the difference is of this Yoga Nidra. What is the purpose of this?
I mean, technically, I think Yoga Nidra would be defined as you're removing the senses from the body. So you're taking the body out of the equation. You're taking your mind, so your sense of hearing, your sense of sight, your sense of smell, you're removing all of that. So you're bringing everything down so you can access to what's kind of inside. And I refer to it as your sacred center, but everybody would have like a different word for that. So your authentic self, your divine being, your optimal self. So
I always say getting to your sparkle.
Oh, to your sparkle. Yeah, exactly.
Like
that's
tapping
great.
into
Yeah,
it.
that's, yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's basically tapping into you as a person in the truest. I love that you brought up authentic self, because
Yeah.
it's true words spoken there.
Yeah.
It's who you essentially are without any masks or without
Lenses.
any,
Yeah. Yeah.
you to the core.
Exactly. Exactly. So where classical meditation might look like the Tibetan mountain and you're cross-legged and on a pillow and you're ideally back is not killing you and hips and knees aren't killing you at a certain point, right? So Yoga Nidra is just definitely another tool that you get the same outcome, I would say, as, the classical Tibetan monk sitting on the mountain.
And what's the difference? So describing it, like I know you talked about letting go of your senses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that is technically part of meditation.
Absolutely. I would say, one is more a sense withdrawal and one, so Yoga Nidra is a sense withdrawal, whereas meditation is more of a sense focus. So you're still kind of, things are coming into your mind when you're meditating, but you're not attaching and you're not bringing your stories with you, but you're just bringing it back to your present moment. Where Yoga Nidra, the goal is almost you want to hover on this level of being awake, but also being asleep. So you're on this weird teetering level of consciousness. And it's where, when you're in that moment, that you can start to access that little sparkle moment.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I found that because I did your Yoga Nidra that you sent me. And hopefully, if you're good with it, we'll share it with everybody.
Awesome.
We'll post it as well. Or
I think everybody should be doing Nidra. So
we will give everybody the tool or the links to be able to get there in the show notes, or somehow I promise you we will get you this. Maybe even if we can find a way to attach it to this podcast.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
On iTunes, so that, guys, if you want to keep listening, then potentially you can practice it. We can see what we can do.
Sure.
But I know when I was practicing it in anticipation for today, because obviously I wanted to see what it was about, I felt that, like, because you mentioned in it, like prepping, you're almost committing to not fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because sometimes it's very easy, especially if you have, I feel, been going through a very chaotic stage in your head. Yeah. When you do start meditation, sometimes, unfortunately, you do fall asleep. Yeah. Like that can be an outcome. But so I thought it was very interesting that you were making the commitment as you first begin that journey to not fall asleep and stay awake.
So it turns out that Yoga Nidra, I should have started with this, but translates to yogic sleep. So it is about playing with that consciousness and tapping into the different brain waves at different states. So I'm by no means a sleep expert, but as we're go into our different REM sleep cycles, our brain waves change. And it's when we can access those different types of brain waves that we can almost start to reprogram, if you will, the brain with the Yoga Nidra practice.
And so that is very interesting. So I don't want to spoil it for anybody too much.
I know. I try not to give a lot on people's first Nidra because I just kind of want the experience to speak for itself. So
guys, my recommendation here is, if you haven't tried it, maybe pause this episode, go to the end of the show, and maybe do the practice and then listen to us chat about it. Yeah. Because I don't want to ruin it for you, and I don't want to almost direct you in a way that you should be feeling it.
Totally. Yeah,
so I
love
appreciate you giving me this space that I needed to experience it for me. So like I said, guys, if you're listening and you haven't experienced Yoga Nidra yet, maybe pause, go to the end of the show where we have the recording for you, or just pause and find anything on YouTube. I have no doubt
there's a bunch out there too, for sure.
Just so you can follow along a little bit easier and maybe get a better understanding. Yeah. Because I will be picking some of it. Like I want to know kind of what the essential purpose was for certain aspects of it. So I really want to go there with you.
Sure. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I could give you a bit of kind of the history of maybe the practice. So it originated in India as well at the Bihar School of Yoga. So what they found was when everybody was getting up every morning to meditate or chant, they always had a security guard kind of walking around the, what would you call it? The ashram. And and because everybody was up really early at like 4 a.m. to do this chanting, the security guard would often fall asleep. But he found after, a week or a month that he knew the chanting, like he knew all the words that the chant had, but he'd been asleep the whole time. So it was this really curious kind of set of events that happened where people started to realize that, there's this state of consciousness between wakefulness and sleep where we're still receptive to receiving whatever it is that you might need at that moment. So they created this practice to essentially create that moment so that we could go in and tap into that really neat frame of mind. And I mean, the options are endless that what you can do there.
And it's so funny because as I did it, I was like, wow, I wonder if that's the essential piece here. Is that what it's trying to do?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So it's pretty almost confirming and, wow for me to kind of hear you say that. Because as you practice, you're like, I almost felt like one of my notes here is it talked a lot about the mapping, the goal of the map. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I even wrote like, is this rewiring basically old habits to start to get you to begin like a new path, a new journey? Yeah. Because that's the sense I got. I was like, it's asking me to go and kind of make a new map, and just that physical element of walking me through it, it almost allowed me to go, am I remapping my mind right now? Yeah. Essentially.
And so I used that imagery because that's kind of what came to my mind when I started practicing this, was when you're driving, down a road and when you kind of feel the car kind of come out of the grooves in the road, it kind of throws you around. But when you're on more like well paved roads, the car feels more stable and things are more rutted, I guess you could say. So I almost apply those to these impressions that we have in our brain. So in Yoga Nidra or even yogic philosophy, they might refer to these kind of ruts in the brain as your samskaras. So they're just impressions that are left in the mind, which are basically our.
Would it be like default, like where
it's our default? Goes? Yeah, they can be good things or bad things. So if you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good at running, or it can go way deeper to childhood traumas, or but these things that we tell ourselves every day get worn into the brain over and over and over and over until that's your belief, right? Like that's your belief system. And whether you learned that growing up or it's something you've told yourself, you have these patterns, and then that influences the way that you see the world when you start to see through these lenses. And
I would assume it also not only gets you to see the world in a certain way, allow you to have those feelings attached to it.
Exactly.
So like the thing that I'm going back to is anxiety.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Like, cause for me, I suffer like some days crippling, and luckily through my practices, I feel like it's not as debilitating on most days. So I felt that this was almost like an opportunity here to be able to reroute your brain so that it's not going on that default path to
every time, right? So
nervousness.
If you're driving the car, it easily falls into that pattern, right? Like whether you want it to or not.
Absolutely.
So we use what's called the Sankalpa in the Yoga Nidra practice, which is no different than a positive affirmation. And so now, let's go into that moment where you're hovering in your sparkle moment, and let's plant your positive affirmation. Let's put your sankalpa in there to reprogram those samskaras, those impressions that have been left on your brain. Yeah. Because really we can't tap into these positive affirmations. So you can say, I am the embodiment of health over and over and over. But if you're not connected in a moment when you're saying that to yourself, it's not going to land. It's just going to kind of slide off and, go off on its own.
You're almost trying to convince yourself, but you're not really believing it.
So get yourself into a really grounded, connected place. Now you plant that seed. So the sankalpa is almost like a seed. You go in and you plant it there, and now it's safe in your little sacred area, and it can start to grow.
Manifest, really.
Yeah. And it is about manifesting. So that might be a big word for people, and they don't connect to that word maybe, but manifesting what you want for yourself.
So let's break it down, because you just hit it, Lindsay, and I have no doubt that people might get their back up a little bit when you say manifest, or what kind of hocus pocus are these ladies talking about?
Exactly.
But really, it's just trying to program, I feel, your brain to a more positive direction.
Yeah.
And if you just think about it like that, there's no hocus pocus there.
No, exactly.
It's just talking about really, because our brains are powerful, and I truly believe we don't even know the extent of it.
Right. Yeah.
But our brains are powerful. It's probably the essential, most powerful thing that we own, and we use it every day. Yeah. So if you think about it, if you don't put the time and energy into programming that right self-talk or that dialogue internal, that internal positive dialogue, let's say, and then the default can sometimes be negative or anxious or overwhelming or crippling, then you're setting yourself up, I feel, in a way to fail, or you're not giving yourself the benefit of the doubt and all the tools that you can potentially be giving it by just trying to clean your head and allow some positive conditioning within your head to bring you to that, I would say, grounded, neutral state.
Totally.
So then the goal here is, once you get to that grounded, neutral state, and if we make that time and energy and effort to use that positive dialogue in our heads, then we will gradually go towards more of that positive direction in our life. Yeah. So that's all I mean by manifesting.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah. So it's not no hocus pocus or witchiness.
Doing potions and
Wow, wouldn't that be easier?
Yeah.
Because it is like, and I want to make a point to saying how hard that is.
Well, it's a practice again, right?
Right back to that practice.
Yeah.
Shoot, guys, I was hoping she was going to tell me it was...
the best hockey players didn't get to the NHL by...
one goal.
One goal, yeah.
One time on the ice.
Yeah.
So I think that's essentially what we have to remember, is that to achieve these states of being and positivity and awareness, it's all practice. You have to continuously put that time and energy in. So it's not just once you feel that hype and awe and happy feeling that you can let it all go. Yeah. You're essentially feeling that because you've put the work in. So it's about continuously showing up, honoring yourself, and honoring everybody around you by putting it to practice.
Yeah. Because how are you going to, you've got your affirmation and you're ready and you're like, I'm late for work, I have to get the groceries, and then I have to cook this, and I'm also the embodiment of body, mind, and soul health, and then I gotta, go pick up this and get here and get there. Like, that's not gonna land. So what's your tools to use to get there? And whether it's a yoga nidra practice or meditation, and I mean, they're all one and the same really when you break it down and get down to the roots of it. Yeah. It's just your choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Well, yeah.
That's all it all is.
Yeah.
It's a choice to honor yourself. And I get life is busy. We all have a billion things that we're juggling. Some people, I can't imagine how they do it.
Right.
But I feel it's essential to be able to gift yourself with this and with the tool of cleaning your head and allowing it to be positive, so that you can reach that level of happiness more often than not.
Again, that we have so many choices in the world available to us. It's what works for you. And, you know, maybe meditation doesn't work for you. Maybe Yoga Nidra doesn't work for you. But maybe when you are painting or playing the piano, that's your meditation. Like, that's your moment, right?
Because it's just being that presentness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like going back to, it's cleansing your head. So you're just removing that abundance of thought flow that's happening, and you're allowing it to be more focused.
Yeah. It doesn't have to look
this. And I would encourage people that it's not about doing what everybody else does. It is, and I love it that you said it. It's about finding your own way and doing what works for you. Mm-hmm. So whatever fits, go with that. But I think the thing is to honor yourself and practice it.
Yeah, and make a commitment, because you, I think, said it well, is that we're all busy, right? And it's just kind of what's important to you. So committing to a daily practice, there's something to that's really beautiful, first of all. And it's hard work, but you're committing to that for yourself, which is really, I think, a key to this whole thing, is committing to the practice. But
and it's the biggest battle.
Yeah.
But it's you gotta see it as the value. You have to be able to see that for you to make it a priority in your life, I feel.
So I call myself a beginner meditator, in the classical sense, in that I sit down and have, you know, a moment of whatever it is, 15 to half an hour, sitting quiet, hands, you know, eyes closed, in the classic posture. So I've dabbled, I've been in and out of that. And I'm right now in the middle of a 40-day commitment to a half hour every day. And the feelings that are coming up though, you know, doing it. And at the beginning, having like lots of anxiety and feeling like this is my should. I should do this, or I have to go home and meditate. I'm going to leave early because I have to go do this, or I'm going to get up early because I have to do this. And I've noticed now I'm just over halfway through it, and I've noticed my language changing around it. It's that I want to go and do this. It's not I have to.
Interesting change, isn't it? Because I feel that shift is an indication of what it's giving you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, it's not about having to, it's about, I know that this works for me and I need to honor myself and do this. It's beautiful. Yeah, seriously. I will honestly say it's my only tool and recipe that I use to be able to manage anxiety. Yeah. So it makes it a lot more doable. That's for sure. Well,
and going back to like a should or a have to, it doesn't have to be a half an hour a day. I mean, I think research says that, 10 to 12 minutes, I think.
Mine's actually 8 minutes. Yeah. 8 minutes and 50 seconds to be, because
perfect.
I do the same thing every morning. Yeah. And then nighttime I switch it up and I actually do my gratitude list. Yeah. So it's just a state going through those positive affirmations and stuff.
Well, and it turns out that the optimal amount of time is going to be what you're actually going to do.
You tend to stretch it. So going back specifically, because I could talk about meditation, I just feel it's done so much for me. And I really, if people are ever struggling, I feel it's a tool that can really be tapped into to help you find out, I would essentially say, who you are, because it allows you to set aside the chaos and craziness and get to your core. But I love it that you said it might not be for everybody, and I totally understand that and respect that. I just know what it's like to struggle. Right. So I would encourage people to find something that works.
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
So going specifically back to Yoga Nidra, because maybe this will appeal to a lot of people, is I noticed another thing that you were doing, and you mentioned it earlier about the breath. Yeah. Actually, I think you mentioned it on the last episode maybe, but noticing how your breath can go through your whole body. Yeah. And so when you were getting me to do that, it's funny, when I was listening to the recording of you walking me through it, I essentially, because like I've done that kind of breathing before, that you're feeling it in different pieces. or different areas of your body. And if you are like really putting that commitment in, I feel you honestly do feel the heat in those areas of your body.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit freaky. And if
Yeah.
you want to talk about hocus pocus,
Yeah.
I think that's the freakiest thing for me practicing, is that I technically feel an overwhelming
Right.
warmth in the area of the body that you're telling me to go to. So I wondered, and one of the questions that I like scribbled down as soon as I finished the practice was, is that essentially to show us or tell us like the power of our brain, really? Like I just wanted to find the meaning.
Well, and I think it is the power of the brain. That's exactly what it is. But the way the practice is set up, it's basically to bring us to the different awareness of the different layers of the body. So again, in the philosophy behind this practice, there's different layers of the body. So we have our physical sheath, and then we have our breath sheath. They're called koshas, is the technical term. So we have the annamaya kosha, which is the body, the pranamaya kosha, which is the breath. So as we access each of those parts, we're getting closer and closer and closer in through the body. So you start with rotation of consciousness, which is the physical body. And you go through bringing your awareness to the body. And then we're going to travel to the next layer, which is the breath. We're going to bring our awareness to the breath. So we've left the external body behind, and now we've moved in, and we're going to bring our awareness to the breath. Then we're going to leave that behind, and we're going to move in to our senses, so the brain. And then we're going to move in again to that sparkle spot. So it's accessing each of those different, and then leaving them behind because we don't need them anymore for where we're going. And it's just different tools to get you there.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a really powerful practice. And my teacher really hits home that, and I've seen this myself, that if you do this practice, your sankalpa that you want for yourself, it will manifest. It's not a matter
once again,
of
saying what sankalpa is that
that's
positive.
your positive affirmation that you want for yourself,
So,
your
and
manifestation.
To even break it down even further for people who are not connecting with that positive affirmation, it's a statement or words that you are saying that describes what you want to achieve. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. A short positive statement. I mean, you can plant whatever you want there for yourself as your sankalpa, but I mean, you're probably not going to connect to, I want $1 million or I want a big fancy house. You know, there's something else behind that if that's what you want to put there in your manifestation for yourself or your statement that you want for yourself. There's something else behind it. So, you know, you want to embody wholeness or abundance.
Yeah. See, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think when you can pull back the layers of a statement and get to the truth of what you're actually seeking.
And
what you truly
what is
want.
behind that. Yeah.
I think that's got a lot of value too.
Yeah. So, I mean, go ahead and try if you want. Please
let us know.
You know, and let me know how it works out.
But I think it was like I said before, I'm very, a huge advocate for meditation, and it was exciting to try a different type than what I'm used to. And I found it very powerful, but I found most meditations are, depending on your intention behind it and how much energy you put into it. But I really like the different elements of almost committing right off the bat to myself that this is not time for sleep. This is time for almost reprogramming in a way.
And definitely no shame, I should say, around if you do fall asleep, because I fall asleep all the time during my nidras, especially if I'm in bed at night. It's also a really good tool if you suffer from insomnia or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But
meditation in a nutshell.
But no shame, that if you do fall asleep in the practice, because you'll wake up, you'll catch up, you're still getting all of the benefits that had you been awake.
You're almost
So-
like the bodyguard in a way. Like you mentioned at the ashram.
Yeah.
Maybe you're soaking up more than you're doing.
Exactly. So, definitely none of this is, you're like, oh, rats, I did this wrong again,
Yeah, and I hope that, because that is it's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back once again to, I think, the self-talk and the dialogue. So it's just about, I think, maybe programming yourself or trying to condition yourself to say, it's about trying. It's about putting yourself in the situation, honoring that you will practice some form, and whatever that form looks like for you, but just showing up and trying.
Yeah. What do you got to lose, really?
Exactly. And what do you got to gain?
Yeah. Yeah. If it works for you, wow. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
on to the next.
One other thing I don't need to try later on.
Exactly.
So regarding Yoga Nidra
Yeah.
and then the other different types of meditations
Sure.
that you maybe dabbled in
Yeah.
the past, what do you feel would be a benefit
Mm-hmm.
for Yoga Nidra that you feel kind of separates it?
It's guided. So it's guided, it's structured.
So guided meaning somebody's walking you
Somebody
through.
exactly. So somebody's there guiding you through, telling you what to do next, which I think for beginner minds, guided meditation is probably the place to start. Otherwise, you'll get frustrated and probably not want to do it ever again. It's also structured, so it's going to be the same every time for the most part. So the beginning's going to be pretty much the same. So you're going to know what you're coming back to every time. But then the really neat part is about the middle is that you can make it whatever you want. So I can come in as a Yoga Nidra teacher and create a practice just for you. So if you mentioned anxiety is something that you deal with, we can make a custom visualization and sense awareness programmed exactly for you, where then you can put your Sankalpa in there and be able to really work with it.
To hopefully reprogram essentially your brain.
Exactly. So I know my teacher, who I learned this from, has even done Yoga Nidra practices for cancer patients. So gone in and done really beautiful visualizations of the lungs for a lung cancer patient to just go in there and try and, get some good energy in there. So the benefits and the options that you can do with this practice is really endless.
And I think to go back to what you said a couple of minutes ago is, what's the worst that could happen here? Like, what's the downside?
Yeah,
if
a good little nap.
Right? A little bit of peacefulness throughout your day.
Yeah.
So I think the potentials of what you can achieve is mind-blowing. And if it doesn't work, hey, it's something to try.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, and if this doesn't, the list of things that there are to try, it almost doesn't end nowadays.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I feel that if we can find, I was talking about sparkle, finding your sparkle, because I truly feel in my core that every single person has that within them. Every single person has some kind of awesome gift to be able to give and tap into once they essentially fall in love with themselves and they can get there.
Yeah.
And I believe, wow, if we can get to a place in the world where we all tap in a little bit to that and can offer it to each other, that's some positivity that I want to be a part of. That's for sure.
Because we can all tell when you go and you're interacting with somebody and you can tell you're not talking to their true, authentic self. You're talking to a mask that person has on. And now suddenly, for me, I know that interaction is...
It limits.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So it's always beautiful to see an open soul showing up and being willing to offer what they've experienced and what they feel is essential tools with anybody listening today. Because I think for me, that's why I've started this podcast, and that's why it was a dream, because it's a way to give people tools that they can try out and see exactly what you said, see what fits for them. And if it does, and they can get somewhere sparkly and learn something, then woohoo, success.
Yeah.
It
that's
feels
awesome.
good.
Yeah. Well, some people might even say like, what we're doing right now is meditation, right?
Well, being very present. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So any tips you would like to give to somebody maybe just starting out at the practice? Because you know what it's like. Just remember, go back there.
Yeah.
How overwhelming. Like I always had this self-doubt. For me, it was like, I can't do this. I'm not a Tibetan monk.
Yeah.
What am I trying to do? Am I trying to pretend I'm something I'm not? Like I had some serious, hardcore self-doubt starting. And even when I achieved it, I think, and by achieve, I mean, I just made it part of my practice. So I want to be clear with that. Is that when I went, I think one of the first things I did when I started to make this a practice is I went to a meditation that was with the Buddhist monks. So I went to a retreat, basically.
Yeah.
A silent one. So like I couldn't, you weren't supposed to speak the whole time, which we all know is a struggle on its own. But I think my biggest fear once I started making this a practice and started to achieve that positivity that I was told could happen, I was afraid I would lose it. So that was always my worry, is that, oh my God, I've reached a clarity point and I didn't comprehend that part of it's a practice you have to keep trying.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, someone's going to come and it's going to take it away. And I think one of the Buddhist monks gave me some of the best advice I've ever heard. And it was kind of like, to achieve those present moments is a beautiful gift. And when you get them, enjoy them. And when you lose them, it's okay because you're amongst society and all the things that come in and out of your life. Be gentle with yourself. You can get derailed, but you now know how to get back.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was almost like this 100-pound weight lifted off my shoulder of like, that's it. It's not about never getting derailed again.
Yeah.
It's about now having a tool to be able to get myself back there.
And can I get myself back there faster than I did before?
And that's it.
Yeah.
I feel
Like
you do.
a pendulum, right? So if your pendulum swings off in one direction really far, well, can we start to just limit how far that pendulum's going to swing? So eventually we're just kind of hovering on the center back and forth beautifully. But if it does swing,
and it will.
Bring it back, and it will.
Like it's life. I thought it was cute when they were like, well, we got it easy. We're locked here away from everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I didn't think about that before.
Well, and I'm certain that when, meditation was, I don't know if created is the right word or
talked about,
they didn't deal with what we have right now. Screens and phones and unlimited access to anything that you could ever possibly want right now. And, that life's a bit different, I think.
But isn't it funny, or don't you find it interesting that it's almost like the busier our life gets and the more stuff that becomes available out there, we're almost tapping into these practices even more.
Yeah.
And I find that there's something to be said about that.
So because I've also noticed that there's a huge shift going on in the world right now of people, looking for that.
Seeking for some peace or knowing that life is not supposed to be chaotic all the time. And it is about staying and sharing in those present moments of bliss or whatever the emotion is at the moment, just being present. I think that is a gift in itself. Okay, well, I think that's an official wrap then on today's session. Once again, huge thank you, Lindsay, for making the time and effort in your day to come and join us and have a very present conversation in regards to meditation and some different tools or techniques that people can hopefully take away and try out themselves and see what works for them.
Yeah, and remembering, not to judge yourself if you don't like something.
It's okay.
Yeah. Be nice to yourself.
That's a great motto to end with. So let's go with that, guys. Be nice to yourself. So once again, like I said, huge thank you again to Lindsay and the listeners, guys. As always, it's a true pleasure to have you join me for part of the day. Don't forget to take some time and maybe give out Yoga Nidra a try and see if that works for you. Like I said, we're hopefully going to have it attached to today's episode, so stay tuned if you are interested. Take some time for yourself. Hopefully that can give you some clarity and balance within your busy life. And don't forget, It's always a choice to power yourself.
Please get ready for the practice of Yoga Nidra. Taking the pose of Shavasana, lie on your back with the body straight. The head is in line with the spine. The arms are laying out at the sides with the palms facing up. The feet are hips width apart and fall gently out to the side. The process of Yoga Nidra requires complete stillness in order to access and relax the mind. Take the time now to make any last adjustments to your body, clothes, or props until you feel completely comfortable and at ease. Make a strong resolve to yourself now to remain completely still for the duration of the practice. From this point on, you have nothing to do but to stay awake and alert to my instructions. You will function on a level of awareness and hearing and an intent resolve to remain awake for the entire practice. Take a deep inhale and begin to let go of your day, your thoughts, or any worries. Nowhere to go and nothing to do. Say to yourself now, I will remain awake. I will not sleep. As you inhale, begin to feel lighter, and with each exhale, begin to feel more and more present and grounded here in this room. Trust that the floor is a safe place and there is nowhere for you to fall. Feel the strong support under your body. Notice how with time the breath begins to slow. An internal shift begins and relaxation naturally follows. Bring your attention now to the space between the temples and to the jaw. Let any tension that may still remain float off the face and into the floor. Let the breath access all points in the body. Inhale from the feet. Feel the breath flow up to the crown of the head and exhale back down the feet. Inhaling again, feeling the breath flow all the way up to the crown of the head. And exhaling, feel the breath reverse back down to the feet. The practice of Yoga Nidra begins now. It is time to plant your sankalpa or personal resolve. The sankalpa is a vehicle which can be used to uncover the authentic being. It should be stated as a short, simple, and positive statement, or left blank until it naturally reveals itself. You should state the sankalpa with strong conviction and feeling. The sankalpa can repair the roadmap of the mind and reveal new routes to access the sacred. Continue to use the same resolve until it begins to naturally manifest itself in your life. State your resolve 3 times to yourself now. We begin by rotation of consciousness by taking a trip through the body. Stay alert to my instructions without too much effort. I will begin by repeating specific parts of the body. Without any movement or effort, shift your attention to this area and mentally repeat the name of the body part. The practice always starts with the right side. Shift your attention now to the right side of the body. Right hand thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, baby finger, back of the hand, palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, right side, waist, hip, upper leg, knee, shin, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Shift your attention to the left side of the body. Left hand thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, small finger, back of the hand, palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left side, waist, hip, upper leg, knee, shin, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Bring the attention now to the back side of the body. Heels, calves, back of the thighs, right buttock, left buttock, lower back, mid back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, spine, back of the neck, back of the head. Bringing the attention over the crown of the head, forehead, temples, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, space between the eyebrows, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, nose, tip of the nose, upper lip, lower lip, space between the lips, chin, throat, collarbones, heart space, navel, abdomen, whole right leg, whole left leg, both legs together, whole right arm, whole left arm, both arms together, shoulder blades, spine, buttocks, whole of the back, abdomen, navel, heart space, whole of the front, whole head, whole back and front together, whole body together, whole body together, whole body together. Tuning in and checking that you are still awake. Make sure that you are awake with total awareness. Be aware of the body in contact with the floor. Imagine a mirror above you and envision your body on the floor, breathing and aware. Adjust your experience to the breath. Do not force the breath. Trust that the inhales and exhales will just happen without effort. Focus on the navel and feel the inhales and exhales flowing from the navel. Belly rises, belly falls, prana flows. Move the breathing from the experience in the navel to the chest. Inhales and exhales flow from the heart. Become aware of this. Now become aware of the breath through the nostrils. Feel the breath enter the nostrils separately and unite in the space behind the third eye. Each breath enters separately through the nostrils and becomes one in the space behind the eyes. Start now to practice mental nadi shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. Inhale through the left nostril, pause, and exhale through the right nostril. Inhaling through the right nostril, pausing at the top of the inhalation, and exhale through the left. Continue this pattern as you count from 27 to 1. 27, inhale left nostril, pause. 27, exhale right nostril. 26, inhale right nostril, pause. 26, exhale left nostril. Continue this pattern until you reach 1. If you make a mistake, do not fret. Just start again at 27. Keep full awareness of the counting and breathing. Stay awake, no sleeping, only counting and breathing. If you reach 1, just beginning again at 27. Let go of counting and feel the breath flow equally as one through both nostrils. Take your awareness now to the feeling of heaviness. Let the whole body experience heaviness. Feel as though sandbags weigh down each part of the body. Each arm, each leg is tied down by a 100-pound sandbag. Even the fingers and toes begin to feel so huge you could not lift them. Heaviness. The backs of the legs, the buttocks, and spine feel so heavy that you start to feel as though you're sinking into the floor. Not falling, just slowly, slowly sinking. Heaviness. Letting go of the feeling of heaviness and call to the feeling of lightness. Every part of the body feels extremely light. The sandbags have been removed and the arms and legs are overcome by a feeling of lightness. Each limb begins to feel so light that they feel as though they may float up off of the floor. Each part of the body in contact with the floor feels as though it could rise up. Feeling such lightness that you feel as though the whole body is hovering above the floor. Now calling to the feeling of doubt. Awaken the feeling of doubt. Recall any experience in your life when you may have felt doubt. When you may have doubted yourself, a person, or a situation. Take yourself back to this place and remember the doubt. Feel the doubt. Make the feeling very clear and tangible. Letting go of doubt, bring on the feeling of confidence. Remembering a time when you felt confident. Remember how you felt, how you spoke, even how you perceived the situation. Any feeling of confidence. Let that confidence fill your inner experience. Making sure that you are not sleeping and that you are awake with full awareness. I'll begin to name a few objects or symbols. As I say the name without much effort or control, visualize the object on a mental level of feeling, awareness, emotion, or an image. Move as fast as I speak and let your mind jump from image to image, not lingering on any one item. Sunshine on the face, warm rain showers, smell of baking cookies, gazing up at a huge mountain, the sound of your favorite music, a shooting star, a warm, friendly hug, full harvest moon, child laughing, waves on a beach. Intensifying your awareness, begin to picture the inside of the body as a large, intricate road map. The darkest, smallest places within your body and mind contain new, undiscovered territory to access your sacred. Picture yourself traveling along an open road. Feel the sun shine on your face and the wind blowing in your hair. You're traveling at a comfortable speed and navigate each corner skillfully. You accelerate your car as you go up hills and ease off the gas as you travel down the hill. It's a perfect day for a drive. You pull over to check your map and ensure you are on the right track. As you start to look closer at the map, you realize that the route you had planned is not the best route at all. Only a familiar route you have traveled time and time again by force of habit. This route is gravel in areas, full of ruts, potholes, and seems to be consistently uphill. realize that on this day, right now, that this route is no longer serving you. You crumple the old map and throw away any remnants of this well-beaten, familiar path. Today, you choose a new route. Today, you choose to not follow by habit and repetition. You turn off your path and begin toward an uncharted course. The new road has been freshly paved and is smooth. Your car travels at ease along this road. In fact, the longer you continue on this new path, the easier, more familiar, and the more right it begins to feel. There are no difficult, windy, impassable parts to your new route. No traffic cluttering your way. Only wide open road. You on the wide open road. Feeling completely content on your fresh new road, you state your Sankalpa again to yourself 3 times, solidifying your new-found direction to yourself. Relax all effort from your breath, the experience you just had, and let the breath slowly come back to normal. Feeling completely relaxed, slowly bring your focus to the physical body. Be aware of the body on the floor, in the room. Be aware of the temperature of the air on your skin. Start to visualize the room you are in. Tune in to any light that may be in the room, any sounds you might hear far away, gradually bringing the intention to the sounds closer to you. Let your mind go completely external, fully letting go of the internal experience, but retaining the newfound sense of calm and relaxation. Now that you have become more familiar with the physical sheath, begin to take tiny, slow movements in the body. Starting small with the fingers and toes, letting the movement spread up the hands and feet to the wrists and ankles. As the movement moves up the limbs, let the movements slowly begin to get larger until you're taking gentle movement of the whole arms and legs. Beginning to let the head roll from side to side. Gently rolling over to the right side, letting the head cradle in the arm. Observing your quality of mind. Taking your time and with no rush, when you are sure that you are wide awake, gently begin to push up into a comfortable seated position. Fold the hands to the heart in Anjali Mudra and take 3 deep, purposeful breaths. Slowly blinking the eyes open. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete.